This was therapeutic.
That is gorgeous. Good morning, guys. It is the 2nd of September. I have decided I'm going to try and do weekly vlogs throughout September. Not making any promises because this is the first time I've ever tried to do this. But it is Bookoplathon this month. I am taking part. And if you want to watch my roles for Bookoplathon, you can watch my September TBR video. And you'll be able to see my roles and which books I got. We've been watching Breaking Bad, and so we were finishing that last night, so I was very late to joining the first set of sprints that Becca was doing, but we joined the sprints after we had finished season 5 of Breaking Bad. I was not happy about the ending. None of that whole season went the way I wanted it to go. Anyway, joined the sprints last night after finishing Breaking Bad, and I started The Girl Who Chased the Moon. This is just a book that I randomly picked up in the charity shop because I liked the sound of the synopsis. Kind of gave me Ocean at the End of the Lanes vibe, but I didn't like Ocean at the End of the Lane, so I was hoping maybe it would be like similar vibes, but I'd enjoy it more. It's about 260 pages if I remember rightly, and I got to page 78. I think I just started getting interested. The end of the last chapter I just read had some very nice writing that I enjoyed. I'll just read you this bit. So this is from a female's perspective regarding something that happened with a guy. And it says, looking back, she found that she could forgive him because it had been her fault for putting her happiness in the hands of someone else. It had been so easy to do, though. He'd made her feel true happiness for the first time in a long time that night. How could she not have succumbed to it? But sometimes she wondered if she'd lost true happiness that night as well. And she'd been looking for it ever since, everywhere but here. Not very clear, where this is going at the moment. We're kind of following a few different characters. This young girl's gone back to this town where her mother grew up. Her mother's passed away. Anyway, I'm going to have my morning cup of tea, and then I'm gonna do some work, and we'll see how the rest of the day goes. We have some packages to unbox. So I have a package from the Broken Binding, and I have 2 packages from Fairy Loot. From Fairy Loot we have the red and blue sprayed edge with the colour change on the front. Hardback design, which is this lovely red foil. Broken Binding, we have the first binding. It's nice and chunky. It has black sprayed edges. Unfortunately, the front of my dust jacket is damaged, which is very annoying because that's like the main piece of artwork for this one. We have the end pages, which are exclusive, I think, that have candles on. The spine on the hardback then has some foiling on there with a passage from the book. Now we have the Fairy Loot adult book, which is Babel. I love it. So they've gone with like a lighter colour again. We've got this like more greyer and white colour change on the cover. We still got the imagery from the standard cover, but we have silver foil and gold foil down the front. And then the edges, they're gorgeous. We have the artwork of the tower and all the little houses and some birds up here on the edges. They're stunning. I love this. Oh my gosh. You know how we liked the slipcase for Illumicrate? Fairy Loot have got it on the book. And then we have end paper art as well. Okay, Fairy Loots hands down is like my favourite. I really like the slipcase from Illumicrate. I could literally just steal the Illumicrate slipcase and put my Fairy Loot book in it, which I'm very tempted to do because this book needs protecting. Hello, I am still reading The Girl Who Chased the Moon, and I am over halfway with this one now. I'm enjoying it. I've had parts where I'm a little bit bored, but I am finding it interesting. It's following two characters. We're following a girl who's about 17, and she has come back to her mother's hometown after her mother has died. And people in the town are acting a bit weird around her. And then on top of that, we seem to be following another character who is about, I think they're in their 30s now, and they used to be bullied by the girl's mother, and we're kind of following her as well, and a situation that happened with her and this guy that she's into when they were teenagers. It's quite interesting. It seems very mysterious. There's still some weird stuff going on, but yeah, I will keep you up to date. Good morning. So last night I finished reading The Girl Who Chased the Moon. I gave it 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it. It just wasn't anything super special. The plus side is I liked it more than The Ocean at the End of the Lane. It kind of had two stories throughout it, and I was more interested in one story over the other, and it makes sense because the story I was more interested in was like someone that was more around my age group. There was a bit of a romance there versus like a 17-year-old and their romance. But I was definitely more interested in the other character. And so I kind of just wish the whole book had been about that one character and her story rather than the other side of it. But yeah, I did enjoy it. And now I'm on to The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I read like the first 2 chapters of this, I think, last night. I feel like this is going to be heavy. I finished like the second chapter and I was like, okay, let's put this down for a bit. I wasn't ready to start it last night, but I'm ready now. I'm on JD Ray Reid's Patreon sprints. I've signed up to a couple of Patreons yesterday as well. So I'm going to try and crack on with this and get through some of it. I've just had a delivery of something. I've been waiting for it for like a few weeks. I bought it from a seller on Etsy. I will link her down in the description. But it's an embroidered hoodie. And I'm just going to show you. It's Eddie. How cute is that? I'm so happy with it. Yeah! I've also got another package to open, which I'm going to show you just now. I ordered some stuff off of AliExpress. It's actually come quite quickly, way quicker than I expected. But I got some tabs so that I can do some tabbing. Got a variety of different colours and different shapes. Hopefully I'm going to try tabbing some of the books I'm reading. I'm so excited to start this. I am ill. You will happily like sleep here all day. I might try to get some reading done. I did manage to read a little bit of The Midnight Library yesterday. I'm enjoying it. I kind of want it to get better, but I am enjoying it. So I'm just gonna try and get some more of that read today, and we'll see how it goes. I just got this delivered. This has come all the way from Australia, and I think you will have already seen the book I received earlier today from Fable Crate, which was one of their monthly books, the first in their new subscription box.
This one is a special edition set that they did. Kind of excited. Ooh. So they're like a cloth bound edition with foiling. And then they have digitally sprayed edges. So this one has this gorgeous honeycomb with bees. I love the skulls. So it's just got this really nice design, this teal design. They're all cloth bound, they're gorgeous. And then this is the design on the edge. And then the last one is Kill Order. Yes. This was the edge that I just think is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Look at the end papers. It's got skulls and hearts. Oh, beautiful. Although it looks like it has only been 2 seconds for you, it's actually been about 2 weeks for me. Please excuse, I am congested. I have sinus issues that have not left me yet. I've had COVID. I spent a solid 5 days in bed. It has not been a fun time. I've had antibiotics because, you know, you can't see a doctor anymore. You speak to them over the phone and they just prescribe you things without actually looking at you. They didn't even ask me if I had COVID, and then my parents gave me some COVID tests after I'd already started antibiotics. But the antibiotics did work for the thing that they were prescribed for, so that is good. It made me feel better. I'm now testing negative for COVID. The first time I did the COVID test, it came straight up. Like, no doubt about it. It was like, yep. Like, immediately I was like, okay. Thanks. So yes, my first bout of COVID I've had. Still having like a bit of like ear, nose, head issues. But again, I think it's all sinus related. I've never had sinus problems previously. But then I also read that could be an effect of long COVID. Yay! Anyway, whilst ill, I didn't get much reading done. Surprisingly, you always think that when you're ill you're just going to be able to lay around and read, but like, this brain was not ready to read. It just wasn't. I managed to finish the Midnight Library when I started feeling a little bit better. Whew, this was therapeutic. I cried so much in like the second half of this book. I was like practically crying the whole time. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I give it 4 stars. Didn't give it 5 stars just because it just didn't give me that same feeling that 5-star books do. Other books I've given 5 stars, there's just something about them that just gives me like, I don't know, I can't explain it, I just know. So this was 4 stars. It was very good, 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I'm happy about that because I've heard mixed things about this one. I enjoyed the story. I liked the concept. If you don't know, this is about, straight up trigger warning for suicide, because that's like right at the start of the book. It is about a girl called Nora who ends up ending her life, and when she does, she ends up in this like magical library somewhere in the in-between. And in that library there is a lot of books, and they're all books for her life, different offshoots based off of different decisions she could have made. So she gets to try out these different lives. She eventually comes to a certain conclusion, but I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing like the different ways her life could have turned out. I thought it was really, really interesting. The different people that ended up in her life, like people that weren't in her life anymore. The way it affected other people was really interesting, and her relationships was very interesting. And yet her different career paths. I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. I would recommend it if you haven't read it. Next up, I decided to do my reread for Beartown. So I started this a few days ago. I'm over halfway now, and I've done my first little bit of tabbing. I know this doesn't look like a lot, but it's my first time doing it, and I'm kind of like, there's been many bits where I thought, oh I like that, oh I like that, but then I'm like, I don't want to like fill the whole book with tabs. I want to be able to like, you know, identify bits that really resonated with me, and if I tab everything I can't do that. I just want to read you a couple of the things that I tabbed, because these are the reasons I love Fredrik Backman. So Fredrik Backman, in his book, he does these things that I like to call Backmanisms, okay? And for me, a Backmanism is kind of like, it's little life lessons that he throws in there. Just, he writes so beautifully. I can't really describe it, but I will read you a couple and maybe you'll understand what I mean when I call these Backmanisms, because he does this a lot in his books, and this is why I absolutely love his books. So here is one that I would consider a Backmanism. A simple truth, repeated as often as it is ignored, is that if you tell a child it can do absolutely anything, or that it can't do anything at all, you will in all likelihood be proven right. I love that. Like, that is a Backmanism. That's what I call Backmanism. This next bit, this is something that just made me really emotional. This isn't a Backmanism. This is a mother who, she has like a bad back. She has like back issues. Someone's just pointed out to her that her son, he's been put on this hockey team, and she didn't know. And it says, a boy training with the junior team, a head shorter than all the others, her boy. Her back has never been straighter. She could run 1,000 miles. It just gets to me. It gets to me. I love his books. His character work is so good. Excuse me. When I said they make me emotional, I meant it. Okay, I got another one. This is one that made me emotional, but is also kind of a bit of a Backmanism. I will try and compose myself. This one kills me. So this is talking about a woman who has lost the love of her life. Anything that grows closely enough to what it loves will eventually share the same roots. We can talk about loss, we can treat it and give it time, but biology still forces us to live according to certain rules. Plants that are split down the middle don't heal, they die. So yeah, if you haven't tried Fredrik Backman before, I recommend. I mean, this book is a bit depressing, but there's so many beautiful parts. I love his character work. Do check your trigger warnings before picking this up. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. If you have trigger warnings, just have a little look before you pick this one up. But this is basically based in a hockey town. It's a small town out in a wooded area. It's very cold a lot of the time. The whole town supports the local hockey team because they're hoping that if the hockey team can win tournaments, then it will bring investment into the town, therefore resulting in jobs for people and better infrastructure. So everyone backs this hockey team, and you kind of learn about a lot of the families that live in this town throughout this series, and every character is just like so nuanced, but without needing to give you a whole lot of information about them. I don't know how he does it. He somehow in so few pages manages to give you a good sense of like a whole town's worth of people. But yeah, you will learn about a lot of the people that live in this town, and then about halfway through this book something happens and things take a turn, and then the second half of the book is like the repercussions. But yeah, this is my first ever reread of a book. Like, and I mean ever. I've never reread a book before. I'm not a person for rereading. I don't like replaying games that I've completed. I don't like rewatching unless it's like a favourite series. That the very exception is if I have a favourite series, I will rewatch that. Favourite films, I will rewatch. Most of the time I don't like rewatching films. It's like a one-time thing for me unless it's like amazing and I love it. And then it will be a case of rewatching it over and over again until I get sick of it. But yeah, in general, like, I've never reread a book before, and I'm actually really enjoying this experience, and I didn't think I would. Oh, I really need to reread Anxious People by him as well, because I absolutely loved that book. I had a similar therapeutic experience with Anxious People. I don't know, I got to like the end of Anxious People, I think it was the last page. He kind of talks directly to you as the reader. I just bawled my eyes out. He resonated with me and I bawled my eyes out. And Andy was sat next to me like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. That was the first book I read by Fredrik Backman. I'm gonna stop. I I'm going to stop raving about Frederick Batman and how amazing he is and how nice his writing is. I can't stop. I can't stop. Enough. But do you get the picture? You get the picture. I'll stop. I'll stop. One day. One day I'll stop. Anyway, I am actually going to end this vlog here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. But biology still forces... I can't read it.